What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Shearman Shearman Roofing Podcast. We have some Q&A going on today. Let's see what we got from Clayton over here.
All right, so basically what we did is we asked AI in Google what the most Google questions homeowners ask on there about roofing, insurance, a bunch of different topics, and we're just going to kind of run through those. Some of them are kind of complicated. They're not going to be easy to answer like in this format, but
Well, that's great. I love doing that on a Friday.
yeah, they're very conditional, or it might be like a master's level degree thesis you have to put out to just explain.
All right, I'll
But
I'll try to keep this from over y'all's head.
all right, so the first one is how often should a roof be inspected?
Every 2 years, a lot of roofers will tell you they want to come out and check on your roof like twice a year. It's insane. You're just going to lose granule. You're going to have more damage done to your roof by having somebody crawl up there twice a year than you're going to gain any type of value out of it.
I've inspected thousands of roofs, and every single roof I get on, granules are coming off. But all right, so people are like, I've heard homeowners say this, and this is a question that pops up in the top rank, like how many homeowners ask Google this question, and it's, can a roof have damage even if it doesn't leak? So like we've all heard homeowners, well, I didn't know my roof wasn't leaking or anything, so I didn't do anything about it. So is that like the final thing you need to have a roof leak for it to be damaged or what?
No, I would say that you probably want to check it before it starts leaking. That's the goal, right? And the next thing is whenever we start talking about damage, we're talking about insurance claims. So with hail claims and wind claims, wind's probably going to make more of the leaks happen. Okay, hail isn't going to make your roof leak, but 99% of the time, if a roof's getting paid for, it's getting paid for because it has hail damage.
Yeah, it's really hard. If you have wind damage to a roof, the insurance company, generally speaking, has a really hard time paying for the entire roof. They'll do what's called slope it. So they'll pay for the predominant slopes that had damage. Most of the time, windstorms don't come from all four directions, whereas hail comes from the sky. So you're going to have a lot more kind of sporadic and widespread damage. So yeah, I would say you definitely need to look at that before water falls on your forehead on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
So so you want an inspection or you see neighbors are getting their roofs done, you hear stuff going on in the neighborhood. It will, one thing that ties into that, a weird question, I think, but I, I come from this space, but people ask, what happens during a roof inspection? Like, what's going on up there? What are you doing?
Well, it doesn't just happen up there, right? It's going to happen all around your house as well as on your roof. So essentially, what's going to happen is you're going to have somebody show up and you're going to have them take photos of your house and each elevation. When I say elevation, I mean side. They're going to look for collateral damage, things like that, things where they can see hail spatter. And then they're going to get up on your roof and you're going to see them draw out squares. And those squares are going to you're going to be looking for a certain amount of hits inside those squares or anomalies. All right. And then from there, based off of your carrier guidelines, they're going to be able to determine whether they can pay for the roof replacement, if they can pay for a partial replacement, or if you have you have no damage as a whole.
Storm comes through, whatever. We're past that, I feel like. In our area, you're not really, it's gonna be a one-off if you have severe storms at this point in the year. Kind of if you have damage, you might want to get it replaced before it gets too cold. Like, why would you want to not wait until winter to replace your roof? Is there any like reason why you should get it done? Maybe not, you know, the day after the storm hits, although that's not normally a terrible thing, but like, why should you not wait until winter to get your roof done?
Well, whenever you look at optimal times to actually put on a roof, and that's what I care about as a homeowner, is whenever I start looking at the most optimal time to put on a roof, that optimal time is between, I would say, late September to the end of November is the most optimal time throughout a year to put on a roof. Why is that? Well, you're looking at temperatures that are sitting around, anywhere from 65 to 85 degrees outside. So you're not getting a lot of loose granule from foot traffic because shingles are so hot, but yet it's still warm enough for those shingles to seal very effectively. So best time to get a roof on, end of September into late November, and in North Texas, like December's fine too.
Yeah. Basically, each manufacturer will have a minimum temperature on installation day, right? So I don't know what exactly Owens Corning's is, probably 45.
Yeah, it's 45.
Changes based on the shingle type, it seems like.
It does. I believe it's 45. And honestly, you're looking at really 2 months that you're going to run into issues with that. You're looking at January and February, maybe into early March. But I remember last year it was really only like 2 weeks that we couldn't roof. Yeah. So I mean, fortunate enough, we can roof year round, and as long as you're selective, you'll be in good shape.
And the reason for that is you need it to be a certain heat, right? Because that sun kind of heats up the shingle and heats up the glue. So whenever you install them, it seals itself and doesn't sit there flapping around.
Yes, that's the main part, but as a contractor, I know that there's some other pieces to that puzzle that where you're going to run into issues if you're looking to cold install. A lot of the shingles, if it's cold outside, you're going to, and they're sitting on a pallet, then those shingles will start to deform. They're going to form to the pallet, and they kind of get stuck there. So you'll run into some issues like that. And that's really the main thing. If I'm a homeowner, like I don't want to have to take the risk of, a third of my roof looking like it's doing the wave.
Funny story, I was in Williston, North Dakota, working hail claims. And when we were there, that basically the entire town got hit with hail. But while we were there, a little windstorm came through, like 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds. And it was like certain neighborhoods, every other roof had wind damage to it. And I asked one homeowner, I was like, when did they install these? And he said, well, they were out there in the winter, they had to build all these houses in a hurry. And he said they had a 55-gallon drum with Mr. Buddy heaters set around it. And they'd set some shingles in there and warm them up and then go up and toss them up on the roof and install them real quick. And so, like every other house in that neighborhood had blow offs just randomly. And he said that he doesn't think they ever sealed, ever. A lot of these questions are kind of claims based, but we constantly have to deal with severe weather, it seems like year to year, constantly. So like I feel like knowledge is kind of power on that thing when it comes to weather related claims and stuff like that. But so like next time it happens, could be 2 weeks from now. I mean, heck, there's tornadoes in November sometimes, right? But God forbid that. But um, if you do have damage or you sustain damage, really any part of your home, should you immediately call your insurance company or should you call a trusted contractor first? Like which one comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Call the contractor first. All right. So contacting your insurance and having them come out without having any type of knowledge what the process is going to look like is never a good idea. You could, having a contractor out first is going to allow you to know whether you have that partial damage or the full damage. Bringing out your insurance carrier without having any type of eyes on it will limit. It's really going to limit the chance that you're going to bring out your insurance and it doesn't play in your favor to bring out the insurance.
Yeah, there's one big thing. They don't, a lot of times insurance companies don't have people that go out there and underwrite all the time. So, say you have a policy with an insurance company, you file a claim, they come out there and they realize you have a above ground swimming pool and no fencing around your property. That's a flag. They're going to flag your property. Underwriters are going to review it, and now you might be in trouble because that's a risk they didn't know existed, and now they know it exists. That kind of stuff happens all the time. I think one of the other ones, though, is like I don't know how many times I've been on a roof doing this where the damage is to a point where I'm kind of trying to convince the homeowner not to file a claim and just do a repair. Like 2-year-old roof, we know the color, it's generally okay. There's nothing catastrophic, few wind damage shingles, and they're like, I need to file a claim, and I'm thinking $4,000 deductible. We're not charging $4,000 for 5 shingles. You know what I mean? Like we don't need to file a claim for this.
Yeah, no. It's just having a trusted contractor out for an insurance carrier is just always gonna play out in your favor. Um, in no case and scenario is calling a contractor first a bad idea. This is our world. This is kind of the world that we live in. So being able to have somebody out to ask questions to, that's probably the most important thing to do after you've sustained damage is get educated and ask the right questions to the right people.
So there's a few other ones that popped up, and one of the questions, which seems kind of strange, but it's what's the biggest red flag when hiring a roofer?
The biggest red flag when hiring a roofer. Man, that's a good one.
Seems
Um,
like a question that you wouldn't really ask. You would already know if you're Googling it, right? You just could Google them. But
yeah, the biggest red flag when hiring a roofer. Um, I think that the number one red flag for anything is just, somebody that's been around for 60 days.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that's,
you Google them, and the closest company you can find with that name is like 6 hours away.
yeah, I think that this goes without saying, but if somebody can't operate a Google My Business page, they probably don't need to be operating on top of your roof. So that's the first thing I would probably do is just check Google.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because I mean, pretty much everybody's on Google these days, I think.
it's not hard.
No,
No,
so
no.
that might be a big one. But so along with that, there was, I guess, people are Googling, and they Googled it so much, which is kind of scary. But it's like the question is, why do some companies disappear after a storm?
Why do some companies disappear after?
Like you see like 20 companies pop up the day after a storm, and then like the next year, you're thinking, oh, this time last year we had a hailstorm, and there are all these companies where I don't see any of them around anymore. Why'd they leave?
Well, there's two cases here. All right, so you have a storm chaser setup, right, where people are moving from town to town, state to state in order to find that easy work where you're going to have a lot of door-to-door salespeople and things like that. The next case and scenario is roofing contractors that kind of pop up whenever, there is a storm in your local area and they're local, right? Um, but they don't have a sustained business model for to last around whenever there isn't a storm going. Um, and that's really those are the two cases. You have people that are just kind of nomads going across the state and across the country and following storms. And you have local guys that have an LLC, stay to date with everything. But they only really work whenever there's a storm that hits.
Okay, so ChatGPT, it's their brilliance at work here. They said these are some myths that go around, that I guess they people are chatting with ChatGPT and make statements, and they've realized that these things are things that homeowners think but aren't really true. And one of them is that hail damage is always obvious.
Hail damage is not always obvious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that,
pretty simple.
that's a myth.
It's a gray area too, right? There's certain types of hail damage.
There is, there's some hail that you'll get on a roof and you don't know it. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're just not going to see it and know it. And then there's some hail damage that it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's like there's this easy concept. I've talked to some engineers and stuff like that, and they explain this easy concept of like the penny off the Empire State Building, right? It's a certain mass, so it reaches a certain speed. Um, pea-sized hail, because of its mass, can only reach a certain speed when it falls from the sky, and it's not really falling fast enough to damage anything. So if you have damage that looks like pea-sized hail, you probably got a problem, right? It's probably blisters or something like that, but it's just not obvious, especially on a really old roof. Like, what are you looking for here? It's like, so, um, the other one is that new roofs never have problems. People think you replace your roof, no matter who does it, it's fine. It's a roof.
I would say that is a myth, and I would say that new roofs have more problems than old roofs.
Yeah,
That's
that old roof on your house that was there for 20 years that didn't leak, you're just replacing it because of hailstorm. It did a pretty damn good job
Yeah,
for 20 years.
yeah. You got your money's worth out of that thing.
Yeah, that thing was around, when Clinton was in office.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so,
Um,
um, insurance pays for everything. So people think file a claim, insurance will come out there. They're on your side. They're good neighbors. They're going to pay for everything. You're not going to have to worry about anything.
that's a myth.
They pay 10 grand for your roof on a 4,700 square foot house.
That's a myth. Insurance carriers are for-profit companies that have consultants in-house, how to house that come in and tell them, how to make the most money, and they're just like any other for business company. All right. So I'm not talking bad on insurance companies here. I'm just stating what the reality of the world is. Um, no, they don't pay for everything. That's why a thing called supplements exist, and sometimes that's not even success. So it's a myth.
Another myth, I think maybe it's a myth or is it a fact? I don't know. Tristan's going to decide. It's if my roof isn't leaking, it's fine. What do you think?
If your roof is not leaking, then it is fine. Um, that's most likely a myth, yes. Um, so that's so this is kind of a conundrum, right? It's doing its job technically. It's keeping water off your hardwood floors and your cabinets, but um,
Is it rotting your siding?
could be, yeah, it could be rotting your siding. It could be
All right. So, um, true or false? A well ventilated roof makes your roof last longer.
it's true,
Straight up.
straight up truth. Yeah.
No matter the roof type.
No matter the roof type, if your roof is ventilated optimally, then the roof is going to perform better.
Hey, on top of that, true or false? If your attic space is designed to be ventilated and is well ventilated, would that make mechanicals like your HVAC system that's stored in your attic last longer?
It's true,
Okay, so we should ventilate roofs better.
without a doubt. I would say that's probably one of the, yeah, safe to say number one, and I think that's probably one of the top three things that we see um, consistently wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot.
all the time.
All right. Well, does a more expensive shingle last longer than a cheaper shingle, generally speaking? Yes or no?
Generally speaking, yes, a more expensive shingle lasts longer.
Just a lot of caveats.
There is a lot of caveats there. So here's the deal, and we just got off this ventilation question, right? So a poorly ventilated shingle You could have a $50,000 roof that isn't going to last as long as a $10,000 roof that is well ventilated. There's different things that go into making your roof last longer than other shingles. And ultimately, a lot of that's weather related, and a lot of that has to do with installation. But a properly installed, well ventilated $50,000 roof, such as, um, let's take a look at this GAF slate line behind us versus a Owens Corning Supreme. That slate line's going to last longer than your Owens Corning Supreme 3-tab shingle.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on, and you have too, very poorly ventilated roofs, even with like one of these. I won't say which one. Um, well, actually, it wasn't one of these. It was a certainty presidential that was very poorly insulated. So not necessarily their fault. And it looked like it was run over by a train. And the next house I went to had a T-lock that was 26 years old, and it looked kind of okay.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Ventilation, number one, it's gonna make your shingles blister, but number two, it's also gonna make nail pops occur at a really high rate. So what nail pops are is whenever the heat actually pushes that nail out of the shingle. From there, you're going to have creasing that happens, or you can have shingles just come more loose than usual, and then it's just more susceptible to wind damage. So ventilation is a huge deal.
and along that, I'm trying to, I'm thinking here, I don't know how this one is a yes or no that people are asking, but it makes sense. I think it's an old school mentality, but can you install shingles over shingles? Yes or no?
According to code, you can.
But
But
should you install shingles over old shingles?
I'm going to look at it from the consumer point of view, right? Not from a contractor point of view. From the consumer point of view, if this is my house and I'm looking at I have a 3-tab, roof on my house, I'm like, man, we don't need to tear that off. You know, guys, you're literally saving maybe $20 a square. It's not worth it to do it. You're not going to have any type of manufacturer warranty. Most contractors aren't going to warranty it either. Um, should you do it? No. Can you do it? Yeah, you can. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, seems like it used to happen more often. Guys were going up there on a weekend doing their own roof.
Yeah, that's something that you used to see a lot more of back in the day. Clayton, I'm going to ask you a question, man. What should homeowners take pictures of after a storm, or should they?
Yeah, so I think it's if you look at insurance claims, it's kind of like it's almost like a legal thing. So it's like you want to document everything in a way. You want to provide proof and kind of you want to act like whenever the insurance company does come out there, they're gonna treat you like you're kind of lying. You know what I mean? So you want to, hey, did hail hit here? Well, yeah, if you took pictures of hail next to a ruler or next to a coin or something that fell in your yard, after that hailstorm passed, get some of that hail, you can throw it in your freezer. I don't know how many times I've had homeowners show me that, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, this was bigger than I thought. Like it doesn't get bigger when it freezes. You know, from when it came down to when they put it in the freezer is probably smaller. So if they're showing me golf balls, that's pretty good evidence.
Whose job is it to prove a loss?
It's the homeowner's job, even though it doesn't feel like it should be. And part of that is it could, if a homeowner's acting smart and they get a good contractor they know knows how to deal with insurance, whatever the case may be, the contractor can kind of help that process, right? Going up there, taking photos, doing all that stuff. Um,
If contractors are coming out to help you do that, what's the point of a public adjuster? Where does it differentiate from contractor to public adjuster?
I think honestly, in my opinion, in a perfect world, a public adjuster doesn't exist, and it's not because they're not useful in some scenarios. They are very useful. But in a perfect world, the insurance company doesn't fight. They just pay things out that should be paid out, you know. Um, but if you have a good contractor that can do a lot of that, proving the loss, um, helping submit that stuff to the insurance company, um, then there's not a huge need, right? If you're a homeowner and you're not getting everything paid for, you get a good contractor out there. They help document the loss, and then you get paid what you need to get paid to get the roof done. Just get the work done the right way. There is no need for a public adjuster, but there's certain scenarios where it could be needed. Um, like an insurance company that doesn't even want to talk to the homeowner or to a contractor. That could be a scenario, um, but it's not even close to the majority. It normally they'll listen. They just their first step is to kind of undercut it.
Yeah. Um, we're talking about filing claims. Does filing claims, does that automatically raise your rates?
No, filing a claim because of a weather event independently will never raise your rates, from my understanding. Um, if it's an act of God,
Is there case law or something about this?
I'm sure there's a lot of case law regarding that, but an act of God should never raise the rate. There's a lot of insurance Department of Insurance commissioners that would take issue with that, kind of the profiteering type.
Yeah. We've never represented ourselves as insurance adjusters or anything like that, but I'm just throwing that out there. Um, how do supplements work?
Supplement works. So insurance adjuster comes out there, they adjust the loss, they send you a check, they send you a copy of the estimate, and maybe your contractor knows that there's other stuff that is damaged. Um, that contractor can document what is damaged on the property, put that all together, and submit it to the insurance company and ask that they reevaluate what they have paid for. We can't force them. We can't do anything like that, but we can present more information, more documentation, and ask them to address some different items. So say they're not paying for the back run of gutters on a house. They're only paying for the front and the right. We have pictures of it with hail damage. We can ask them to add the back run of gutters. They didn't pay for the shed. That's totally fine. That doesn't mean the adjuster is a bad person. He may not have looked at it. He may have been running on a sixth claim that day. We can take pictures of the shed being damaged, send it in, ask him to readjust it.
Yeah. What can help your claim more than anything else, while going through the claims process? It's you, the homeowner, working with the contractor. There is no person that will influence a claim better than you as the homeowner. Ultimately, you are the person that insurance carrier has a policy with. That policy is a contract. All right. You have the most control out of anybody in any scenario. If if you ask your contractor gives you documentation and you feel like you need to step in, I highly encourage that. And that's something that we at Shearman Roofing, we do regularly. Where, we'll bring in our whole inspection, our supplement, everything else, and we're going to show it to you line item by line item and why it's there. Um, and a lot of the things that we see insurance carriers kind of miss out on or anything like that, you as the policyholder, you really have an influence to change that. So my recommendation to you, we've gone over a bunch of, what should you do after a hailstorm? What should you do after, you know, a, you know, a loss? Um, find the person that you want to work with and work with them. Don't call your insurance carrier first. You don't know what's going on up there. Find a contractor. If they say you have damage, have them show it to you and work with them. Don't just hire them and tell them to get after it, but actively work with those people. And you're going to come out way ahead by doing that than having some Joe Blow, storm chaser come over and tell you, hey, well, we're going to cut $2,000 off your deductible or whatever the case may be. And then you're worried about where your warranty's at next year whenever your chimney leaks. So, how do supplements work? That's how they should work. You, as the homeowner and the policyholder, should be helping out with those supplements.
Yeah, it's really, really hard. Well, let me say this. It's not really hard, but it's way harder for an insurance company to look at a supplement that the homeowner sent in and say no to all of that stuff. It's very difficult.
And us as roofers, we can't necessarily get in there like we used to as far as the claim goes. Um, we can't represent ourselves as insurance adjusters or legal representatives in any way. That'll put us in a courtroom. All right. And there's so a lot of it does fall back on you guys, the homeowners, the policyholders, business owners, whatever the case may be, to really make sure that you're not getting the runaround. We can get you all the evidence that you need, um, but it's going to be from a contractor standpoint, and it's going to be your job to prove that loss ultimately if it gets to that point. So it takes a lot of trust. It does. It takes a lot of trust to find your contractor and the guy that you're going to work with, and ultimately, that's kind of what we built our brand on. Platinum Preferred, Good Contractors List, Better Business Bureau, Roofing Contractors Association of Texas. All of this stuff. What does it mean? Well, it doesn't really mean a lot, other than the fact that we pass a background checks and we move a lot of Owens Corning, and you got a $25,000 guarantee. But what it does mean is that we care about the brand, all right? And whenever you have somebody that cares about a brand, they're trying to develop something, all right? And a lot of guys, it's not about developing anything. It's just, how can I come in, make $1, and get out of town? And that's really what we're trying to separate ourselves from and do different in a state that doesn't require a roofing license or anything else. So that along with a lifetime warranty. What else is there, Clayton? Do you have anything else to add there?
No, I don't have anything to add. I think like that's more than 99% of everybody else. What are the top five class three shingles?
Top five class three shingles for me. All right. Number one, I'm popping off, and this is going to surprise some people, but Tamco Titan. No.
Nah.
All right, man. Tamco Titan's a great product. 160 mile an hour wind rating, I believe, correct?
Yeah, that's pretty high.
That's pretty high. It's pretty high up there, coach. Anyways, the next one I'm going to go with is, I believe, the Malarkey Highlander. Malarkey Highlander, any Malarkey shingle is going to be fantastic. All right. They're very well known for being hard to damage. Great, great ceiling strip, great wind rating. You have a blow off with a Malarkey, something else is going wrong. Number three, and this is what we install. It is the Owens Corning Duration shingle. What makes Duration so great? It's this little shear nail strip right here. All right. All right. So pull throughs, it's going to be non-existent. All right. So wind damage, good luck getting that thing off. It's rated for 130-mile-an-hour wind. Um, why do we use them? Well, number one, you know, biggest fiberglass manufacturer in the country, Owens Corning. Number two, readily available in all markets. And number three, they look fantastic. All right. Um, we're a platinum preferred contractor. I hope I don't lose my platinum preferred status because I just put Tamco Titan and Malarkey over them. But you know what? If I do, I do. We're here for you guys. All right, number three. This is where things kind of get tricky. So, um, I don't know. I mean, number three is kind of, you can have a little toss up here. Oh, this would be number four, right?
Yeah.
All right, number four.
Number four of the top five class three shingles.
Number four. All right. I think I'm going to go Certainteed here. I think I'm going to go Certainteed. All right. Certainteed is a proven product, great company, good warranties, and then to round out this top five list, I'm going to go a GAF HDZ. HDZ, um, great shingle. If it's the most beautiful black that you're going to find on the market, I will give GAF that. A charcoal black GAF shingle.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's unmatched. Like we'll be honest about
The
that.
other colors though, ugh,
And,
they look kind of plastic to me because of the gradient, the shadow lines. But I don't know. What do I know?
yeah, I'm not a huge fan. So there we go. There's your top five.
I mean, I like the Atlas Pinnacle Pristine because, yeah, because on your list, the only thing I would change is I would put the Atlas Pinnacle Pristine on there because I feel like their colors are a little bit fresher.
You know what? Let's just go and make that switch from GAF. We'll make GAF the honorable mention because the charcoal black looks so good.
That's the only reason why it's even, in my opinion, it's even on there.
Yeah,
That charcoal black is like probably the best black,
yeah, no doubt.
other than like, I mean, a Malarkey like Windsor in black is sick, just because
Midnight Black Malarkey is pretty nice.
something like that. But no, I just like the color palette of the Atlas Pinnacle Pristine and the fact that they're 42 inches wide, which is the widest you can get, and the exposure is 6 inches, which is half an inch more exposure than every other shingle, except I believe the IKO. But that's like the company down here. I feel like if it's not class 4 IKO, it's trash.
Yeah,
That's
IK blow off. I know it's gonna blow off.
yeah.
Yeah,
Get a little windstorm, you go out and you inspect some wind damaged roofs, about a 50-50 chance it's a damn IKO.
yeah. So we don't install those here at Shearman Roofing Construction.
Class 4s though, not bad. But if your class 3 performs like that, like eh, let's, let's go with the company that makes everything in their shingle except the damn rock. I I don't know. Maybe they do make the rocks, but that's OC. But
OC is just well rounded.
they make the chemicals, they make the asphalt, they make the fiberglass.
Everything. They're good at everything. The only thing that we've really ever complained about with OC, and I'm saying this because hopefully it might change. Who knows? That probably won't. I'm nobody, but we'll see. All right. Is whenever you install these on the roof, they can look a little oily. All right. And they have a little bit of a shine to them. After a couple of days of rain comes through, it goes away. But I honestly think that that is the case just due to the fact that, they're so, they're produced a lot. There's a lot of them get turned over and they're fresh out the plant.
Yeah, and fresh out of the plant that's in North Texas,
Yes. Yeah.
which is a big one, right? They're producing Irving, right?
Correct. Yes.
So you have them come,
Wait, is it Irving or Garland? I can't remember. So if money was not a thing, money wasn't a thing, right?
money's not an option. Okay, got it.
Yeah, money's not an option. Just basically ask like, hey, what roof are you installing?
On my house?
Well, if you can answer that and I'll answer it.
Okay, so if it was a on my house, it would still be probably an asphalt shingle
Really?
because of because the way my house is styled. It's like if I lived in a double wide trailer, I wouldn't want to put like a Ludovici roof on it, right? It doesn't make sense. But like in for my house, which is just a normal North Texas like brick house with some stone on it, I would probably do an exposed valley, like a W valley,
Okay.
to go along with a Windsor, a Malarkey Windsor.
Okay.
And the color, I would have to stay with brown tones because how earthy kind of my brick and stuff is.
You go with the copper valleys and everything.
I feel like I'm not that bougie.
You're not that guy.
No. Is bougie the right word?
I mean, Copper Valley, Copper anything's pretty bougie. I mean,
Copper, I mean, copper's one of those things. It's like when you take it out of the package, it's super flashy. But then after that, it just kind of becomes cool
yeah,
because of
it appears.
patinas. It is, and it will never corrode. Like, just won't unless we get into metallurgy and you have like galvanized nails or something like that going through it. You get some weird reactions, whatever. But yeah, I would do a Malarkey Windsor um, with a color matched W valley, which is an exposed valley. So, the,
Okay.
so all right, Tristan, if you could put any shingle on Earth, money's no option.
Money's an
Put on
option. It's going into shingle.
Yeah. No, it doesn't have to be a shingle, actually.
Okay.
It could be anything. It could be metal, it could be tile, composite, doesn't matter. It could be rubber. You could recycle tires and put it on your roof if you want to. But what would you go with on your roof? Money's no option. Like you say you won $700 million Mega
I
Millions.
looking, am I looking to to show that money a little bit, or am I looking just for longevity?
That's up to you. You won the lottery. It's kind of like one of those things where if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anybody, but there might be signs. Is it that type of situation? Like,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna give you two answers, right? All right. So, um, because like let's just be real here. Like, if money wasn't a thing and I just wanted to put, a roof on my house, I would just be sweet forever. I would go with a Ludowici, barrel top type tile, you know. That's what I would go with.
it'll be there in 100 years.
Be there in 100 years. I would go with the copper valleys, copper flashings, everything around it. It would look amazing. It'd be an art piece. If I'm looking for functionality, right? Just straight functionality, I would go with a zinc coated standing seam roof. Right. If I'm looking for durability, then I'm going with like a Euro shield. That's what so those are my top three picks. And in the market that we're in now, I think that probably a Euro shield would probably be the best. But me just being me, like I'm going with the Ludowici.
With the copper gutters.
Not just copper, yeah, not just copper gutters, man. We're going copper drip edge window wrap.
If it's a Ludowici, yeah. That's yeah. That's like Lamborghini sitting on top of your house at all times, but it's not that expensive. Like
275,000, per 60 square
you could
feet.
get a used Lamborghini for that.
Yeah.
Vinyl siding, metal siding, or wood siding that you paint. Which one are you going with?
If it's my house, I'm going with insulated back vinyl because I want it to get paid for every time it hails. But if, I mean, just let's just be honest here. But if it's your house, I'm going with LP siding all day long. Um, with a good caulk and then paint it with Sherwin-Williams Duration. It's going to last better than anything else that you're going to put on your house.
Yeah. Why James Hardy and not? I mean, why LP and not James Hardy?
Why LP over James Hardy? Hardy board gets brittle, and LP is just a little bit more durable. It isn't going to balloon on you if it gets wet. It's just a better product as a whole.
I had an installer one time in Nebraska tell me that there's an instruction book that you need to read if you're doing a lot of James Hardy. And he said it's like 30 pages long.
Yeah.
You can't get too close to the ends. You can't get too close to the tops of the Hardy. You can't have your PSI too high. All this. And I'm like, why not? And he said every single one of those things, if you drive a nail the wrong way in the wrong place, 2 years later, it's just going to be leaning everywhere. It's going to be falling down, drooping, corners cracked off, all this different stuff. The World Cup's over, guys. Ronaldo or Messi?
I don't know. Like after watching this World Cup, I'm watching 39-year-old Messi, right? And this dude's still out here dealing.
That's a good point. The only problem I have is Lionel Messi never played in the Premier League, or else he would have got tossed around like a little rag doll.
Where did he play? Where did he play?